Welcome to the Lotco Business Podcast, a show all about helping you as a retailer, brand, or creative understand the actual business side of running your business. I offer straightforward, practical advice about the nitty-gritty of making money from your creative passion. We will be covering bite-sized business and marketing lessons, as well as interviews with experts and trailblazers in the fashion, homewares, and design industries. My name is Melissa Robbins. I'm a business coach, colour-loving, non-coffee drinking Melburnian. Let's get into it. Hello and welcome to today's podcast. My name is Melissa Robbins. I am super excited to have a guest with me today. Ashu is a spiritual business coach, and I met Ashu recently at an event that we were both attending and really resonated with everything that she talked about and her energy, and I just wanted to come get her on the show to share with everyone what she does and a little bit more about what being a spiritual business coach actually means. Welcome, Ashu.
Thank you so much, Mel. I am so excited for this interview. And I also loved talking to you. We were sitting next to each other, right? We were sitting next to each other in that event. And it was really cool to be interacting with you. So I am excited for this episode and for what your listeners are going to get out of this. About the spiritual thing, like what do? I am a spiritual business coach for spiritual entrepreneurs because we have different ways of running business. So that's what I do. And I use human design, chakras, intuitive guidance, channeling. I can keep listing out things that I use because I'm a manifesting generator. So I have way too many tools in my toolkit. I also have tarot. I actually used to be a tarot reader. I started out as a tarot reader, also as a life coach. So I also use life coaching skills in there. Currently, I'm pursuing counseling. So I also am trying to embed counseling into my
I love it so
practice.
much. And yes, we'll definitely touch on that energy that you have as well, being the human design, because I think it's something that more people can discover and know more about themselves, which I think can really help them in the way that they run their business and their life, and know who they are more. It helps with so much other areas as well. So tell me a little bit about the clients that you work with, or what sort of work you do. And I know that the reason I wanted to get you on here as well is because mindset is such a huge part of business, and it is such a huge part of how, as entrepreneurs, we function and what we get to do. And what I see come up again and again is lots of limiting beliefs. And so for me, I think I'm starting to incorporate more of the spiritual side into my business. I engage with lots of practitioners like you to actually help me with my spiritual side. And I know that it's something that a lot of my listeners may not even know much about, but definitely it can help them. So can you share a little bit about what are some common limiting beliefs?
I love that. So I'm going to start off with one thing, because I know everyone's like, oh, mindset is super important, and every training starts with mindset first. Every course that you put out there, you will see out there, it starts with mindset first. I sort of like to call it differently. I call them spiritual strategies, because people are done with mindset. People are tired of mindset. And I know it's the most key piece. But if a person is tired of it, or listening of it, they will skip through that part. So that is why I have done it. That's why I know it. I would skip through the mindset work. And then I would realize, oh, the strategies are not really working out because I didn't do the mindset part. And I would have either all the mindset part and no strategies, or all the strategies parts and no mindset. So I'm like, okay, no, wait, spiritual strategies. That is what sort of resonates with my audience, because my audience are spiritual entrepreneurs. And the limiting belief, that's where like it's beautifully slides into is, I am not a business owner. I am a spiritual person, because spirituality is seen so far away from money, business, profit, all of these. Like the values of spirituality are always told around being selfless, being focused on value giving, service, and all of those aspects, but not from a monetary perspective. Just work on donation basis or do it for free. These things become big limiting beliefs for all my clients, because they're like, I cannot charge for my service. Who's going to pay? And am I being too salesy? Am I being too annoying? If I sell, I think that it's not right. I am like sort of being a fraud. Am I a fraud for doing this? I want to help people. So is it okay if I charge high? I want to make it affordable. I want to help everyone that I can. So I'll charge lower. And the work I do, that they invite some skepticism, right? Tarot reading, astrology, human, all of these things, manifestation invites skepticism from certain people. So they're like, am I a fraud? Am I conning people? People don't believe this. This will not sell at all. Who will trust me to pay? I can like go on and write a book about this on all the limiting beliefs
And
that people
with
have.
lots of my clients are product based businesses, and I think that's definitely something that I hear a lot. Some of the things you just mentioned there, that they don't want to sell too much, they feel too annoying. They don't. They definitely, the thing you touched on there about affordability. They want to price for affordability as opposed to pricing so they can actually make a profit. There's lots of things like that, and I think, knowing that, like, you're in a business, you have a business, and people, you're trying to help them discover your brand or discover your product, or help them find something to wear, or help them look more amazing and feel good about themselves, or solve a problem for them with, whatever your product you might sell. So I always say, like, you're helping them by getting in front of them and by, sharing your knowledge about your product or about how to wear it or about how to use it. Like, that's helping customers.
Absolutely. I sort of explain it in a way that my spiritual people will understand. Because I can say you're helping people, but then the next limiting belief comes is, if I'm
Mm,
helping, why am I charging for it? Isn't help supposed to
mm,
be something that's like given? Just like, take it. I love you. Here you go. You don't have to pay me back. Being more selfless. So they bring that to me. I have tried it and they bring that to me. I was like, okay, how do I tell them this? How do I work through this? So this is where I call myself a bridge
mhm,
for spiritual entrepreneurs, because I am not as spiritual as them. I would say that I'm not. My clients are very spiritual, like very spiritual in the sense they're very advanced, they are masters at what they do. And I am dabbling into spirituality. Like, I am a spiritual person, but I
mhm,
don't know Reiki healing, let's say. I would not know a lot of types of healing. I'm just like a beginner. I might be their perfect client at times so that they can run their things out on me and
mhm,
see how they can improve it. So they are operating, let's say, they operate in the 5D dimension. We live in the 3D. They are connecting with guides, angels, unicorns, dragons. They connect with all of these, and that is what helps them with their gifts. Like, there are some people are intuitive people who get downloads and they're able to tell people this is what you need to work on, and when they work on it they see really amazing results. But for that guidance that comes through from like an upper higher place, now they get so caught up in that higher place that they
mm,
forget that they are a human and they are in the 3D right now. And the people they are supposed to help are in the 3D and
mm,
are having 3D problems. So, those two things. So, I call myself a bridge because they are here, their clients and the people they are going to make money from, and the people they're actually supposed to help are here in the 3D. And I am the
yeah,
person who tells them, come here, let's ground yourself. I know you have amazing skills, but they are not going to create the impact that you want to create. You were put on this
mm,
earth to live a 3D life and have fun with money. You were supposed to do this. Otherwise, you would just be a unicorn. You would stay up there, okay? You would guide people from up there. But you are put on this earth to actually have fun and experience the human life, like money, big house, or whatever,
yeah, yeah.
big life is for
And
you.
so, what are some of the self-sabotaging, behaviors that you might see with business owners, entrepreneurs in general? Like, what are some of the signs that people might be like, oh, okay, I do that. I didn't even realize that was something that I was doing. Can you give me some examples of that?
I love that. I love that. So
Mm-hmm.
I mostly work with women, but even with men, like, or anyone who identifies as spiritual, there is always a sabotaging
Mm-hmm.
behavior around their throat chakra. They don't speak. So if they have to be, let's say, in a family gathering and tell what they do, they can't tell it. They're very scared. So they like dim it down. That Yeah, I am a business. I do that. When I have to tell my friends like what I do, I just say I'm a business coach.
Mm,
I don't say I'm a spiritual business coach because that invites a lot of skepticism. Now there's two aspects to it of where you do want to
mm,
have a conversation, where you don't. But they don't even
mm,
say I am a tarot reader, or they don't even say it because they're very scared of owning their gifts. So that's a sabotaging behavior, because if your throat is blocked, you will never be able to
mm,
share things out there and get clients. Now, this throat blockage not only comes in saying that I am this person, I do this, they also don't say it on their stories. They don't go on their stories and say, I am selling this. They will hide behind these Canva graphics, and they will put all the details of their offer and they'll put it there. And because of this throat being blocked, they don't see the magic of their offer. So there is you are a coach, so you would know there's a
mm,
difference between details and benefits. So they're always talking about the details. You will get this many sessions, you will get
mm.
these many card readings, you can get this many minutes of a call, whatsoever. They keep hiding behind
Yeah.
these things because they're so scared of actual power, that the benefits that their service holds. So that's one.
And is that part of the same thing, like the blocks holding people
Mhm.
back? I saw you had a live maybe where you're talking about like 6 blocks holding people back. Like, what is that one of those, or is there anything else that you could share about those?
Ah, that's really nice. And I'm really glad that you went through it. And I feel like you might remember it more than me, because I have this problem. When I speak, I am not me. Like, I have noticed it a lot of times. It's not me who is
Yeah.
speaking right now. Even when I'm speaking, after the recording is over, I will not remember what I've said. And you might say, oh, this point was really great. My clients do that to me all the time. They're like, Ashu, this is really great, you should put it into a training. And I'm, oh, what did I say? What was I talking about? And then they have to tell me. I have to watch my recording again. I'm like a different person when I'm coaching. So yes, this is definitely one of the blocks, because I
Mhm.
work with three main chakras.
Mhm.
That's the throat. That's my
Yep.
favorite one because I speak a lot and very powerfully. So throat blockages is what I work with. Then there is your heart chakra blockages. So the heart chakra blockages
Mhm.
are around receiving money. So this happens when either you're not getting clients at all or money at all, or you are getting it but you're not able to
Mhm.
surpass like a limit. Let's say you're hitting this limit and you're not able to get more because your heart space is not open to holding more. So that would show up
Mhm.
as not charging more. That would show up as someone wanting to, like, have you ever experienced, I have always experienced my clients wanting to pay me more. They end up sending me more money, and I'm like, that's not the price. The price was this much. And they're like, no, take it. You deserve it. So the clients who have their
Mhm.
heart chakra blocked,
Mm.
they are not open to these things, to people re-signing with them, to people paying them more than what they had asked for, to more people coming in than what they expected. So that's the heart blockage. And then I work with the solar plexus. That's again my favorite one. Solar plexus is all about confidence. So helping them feel more confident in their abilities of, I am here
Mm.
and I can do something. Because the moment they have to say, I want to change your life, they freak out. They're like, oh, wait, I'm just this person. I don't
Mm.
think I can change someone's life. That's beyond me. So I help them realize that they are actually changing lives.
Mhm.
They're just not seeing it. They're so away in their 5D world that they don't see the 3D benefits of
And
it.
so, in terms of, because I work with obviously lots of product based businesses and they're selling products, so how do you think that could relate to that sort of area in terms of, is it about that they're not showing up enough, or that they're, as you say, like they sort of feel like they're capped at a certain amount, or their behaviour sort of reflected in, that they're not reaching out to certain people to sell more of their product? Yeah, love to hear what you think about that.
Fun part is I also work with product based businesses at times, and those are like spiritual product based businesses. So they might be candle sellers or crystal owners, or
Yep.
maybe like something around the spirituality world. And the same blocks are there. Blocks are literally the same. So a throat blockage would look like not
Mm.
saying what they do proudly, or and I combine these. So the throat and a solar combined together, the throat chakra blockage and a solar plexus chakra blockage combined together, they will be like, I just sell a bottle. I don't really have an
Yeah.
impact. This is just a bottle. But then when you come into picture as their business coach, you tell them, no, it's beyond the bottle. It's the hydration effect, and they feel more healthier in their life, or whatever meaning you would like to attach to it. So I do that with, let's say, candles is the most easiest example I can take. People are like, I'm just selling candles. What do I talk about it? So the throat gets blocked automatically, and the solar plexus is blocked here. So that is where I start telling them, why did you create the candle? Tell me more about that. How did candles play a role in your life? And I start helping them make their product more intentional. Again, services more intentional. So that they're like, oh, these candles, like I have this person who sells candles to connect with gods and goddesses. Now that in the Indian market, it's going to be a really good hit because we all want to connect with our gods and goddesses. We have way too many gods and goddesses in India. So you creating those candles for the specific deities to work with. So we have a god of money, we have a god for love, we have a god for education, we have all these gods. And this is going to sell. People have a lot of rituals in India as well during festivals. So it's going to sell a lot. Now that you're tapping into the power, they might not have thought that it's going to sell a lot or anything, but the innocent, pure idea that I use it to connect to my gods, it really helps me. That is where then I jump in. I'm like, now you are stepping into your confidence. I'm going to help you open up your throat. Imagine the possibilities. That's how I work. Like, the throat opens up when you're able to talk more about your product, where you can't stop talking about it, but in a unique way. And that's powered by your solar plexus because you're confident in talking. Not like, so I have this candle and it burns at like 8 hours or something. No, that's not what people don't want to know 8 hours. People want to know what it's gonna help them with. And then comes the heart. So the heart is where I cannot charge more. They most of the I guess you might have seen it, but I've seen it in my product based business owners. They're always just trying to get to the break even, not more than that. Just trying to make it to the break even. And I'm like, no, you get to make more money. You get to make at least some profit. That's why your business is not growing because you're just trying to cover the costs. And that's a heart chakra blockage because they think I've only spent this much, so I just need to make this much back. Then where is the business part? Because business, in definition, is an economical activity conducted on a regular basis that you're generating profit from.
100%. And I, as you mentioned there, that affordability factor, like so many people say, I just want to make it affordable. I want to make it accessible for people. And that's a great value. And it's really, good to have, but not at the expense of you actually being able to make this have an income and a profit for you and for you to continue on and grow it and scale it and stuff like that. Tapping into what you just talked about, but the storytelling aspect of it, because obviously that's what people want to know more about: the brand, the why, the intention of behind products and behind the services as well, but behind why you've got this product. So that I think that sort of comes into that. If people can tell their story more, and that's obviously part of the throat chakra, like they really want to be able to tell their story and tell stories about whole part of their business, like whether it's I had someone on the podcast the other week and she talked about that if she's a retail store, if a brand has given her more story to be able to share with her customers, then it sells more in store because the staff know more and everyone knows more and everyone wants to know about what they're buying and who they're buying it from. So getting people to tell their story more, that's part of that whole throat chakra area, right?
Yes, I'm going to add something to that, like an example. So I went to this festival recently. They were all spiritual business owners. And then there was this one person selling scarves. I was like, what's up with that? Like, what's going on? So I went to that guy. I was like, tell me what's going on here. Those scarves, now that's a simple product. I just sell some scarves. That's it. But that guy was a photographer and he clicked really good photos. And his wife was like, putting photos and like framing them, it's too much work. and you have to keep them, right? Then they get damaged and everything. How about you just print your photos on a scarf and sell it? Now, each
Ah,
scarf has a story, and it's like very exotic locations that they go to, like a proper photographer, and each scarf has that photo, and you're literally carrying a story, conversation starter
mm.
on your neck, or maybe on your purse, you tie it there. I was like, oh god, I've never seen something so creative about
Yeah.
such a simple thing called a scarf.
100%. Yeah. So, how do you get that across more? So, and I think that's where incorporating story every day into your selling and part of your messaging is such an important thing to really focus on. Is there ways to open up the throat chakra? Is there things that you can do?
Yes, absolutely. So before we go to that, you said, how do you
Mm,
integrate that story more into your business? This is where the spirituality aspect comes in for me, because mindfulness and intentionality, all of these are words you hear in the spiritual space. That is exactly why I call myself a spiritual business owner, because the moment you are more intentional about your offer, it becomes very easy to sell. What that means is, if you just create something that you think is going to make you money, which I have done quite a lot, I have
mm,
had that trouble selling it. I have been like, I don't know what to talk about. But when I create a product which is very like detailed in me and I love it so much, then it's easily able to sell. So I'll give you an example of the event that I hosted and how it opens up the throat. So the event that I recently hosted was going to be called Business
mhm.
Realignment for 2024. There is no personality in that. It is like every other business coach.
Yeah.
It's so basic. And when I told this, I literally told this exact story in the event. So I'm literally sharing what I talked about in those trainings. And I told this to the people, and the people were like, one person said, I probably would not sign up because I would think this will go above my head. It's like, I know, right? And that is where I was like, what do I resonate with? I love cats. So I'm going to call it feline energy activation. Business realignment 2024, feline energy activation. Now, even feline
Yeah.
energy activation goes above your head, but it is just
Yeah.
crazy enough to make you curious. That, okay, what is it? Let me sign up and let me see. Business realignment for 2024 is like, yeah, I want to realign
Yeah.
my business. I get it. It might have some personality, but feline energy activation has a whole another level. And since I'm excited about it, now
Mm.
I can pitch it more because I love cats. I will list out all the reasons why I love cats. And then I will see how it fits into business. And cats are confident. Cats are the master at conserving energy by focusing their energy on the things that really matter. Cats are marking their scent with their like unique scent on their territories, so that is your unique selling proposition, right? So I'm going to pitch it all together as how being a cat in your
Yeah.
business is going to make you more money with feline energy activation. So that adds more personality. So that's what the entire training was about, how to add more personality into your business.
Yet to go through all of my trainings, but what were some of the breakthroughs? I know you've just probably finished, so it might be fresh for you. What are some of the breakthroughs that people had in that training?
So one, like I just finished day three yesterday, which is all about marketing. And that's something I call that's in my DNA. I love marketing. It's like my favorite thing in the world. So most of the people realized that they have been showing up as someone else, and that is
Mm,
why it feels very difficult. And that is why there is no personality in their business, because they're trying to be like everyone else. If you take product businesses, like same, you post photos of candle, you're a candle business owner. But what else do you talk about? Because I worked with another business owner
mhm,
who sells dresses, and she's like, I don't know what else to talk about when
yeah,
I'm not having a launch, because if I'm having a launch, I have these photos to post and these dresses to sell, but when I'm not doing a launch, I don't know what to talk
mhm,
about, and my Instagram goes dead. So I asked her, okay, why did you start this? Why did you start? Because she's trying to be
mhm.
like some other brands that just post photos of their dresses and they get sold out, but there is no personality in that. So that was like a big realization for people, that I am showing up as every other person in my industry, because I think that's how I'm supposed to show up. And the second thing they also realized was that I don't know how to include my personality in my brand because I don't know myself. I don't know who I am. I don't know what I like. And that's why I had to do sitting, like in that session, we sat down and we figured out things that they like about themselves through proper journal prompts and questions. And then I also taught them how to integrate it into their business. And there were such beautiful ideas. Like the systems expert was integrating thriller and horror and crime mystery
Love
movies
that.
into her content. And I was like, yes, that's exactly right. That's what you're supposed to do. And they were the juiciest content pieces I had ever seen because that's the magic. Going back to that dress example, I know I left that story right there. So I asked her, why did you start this dress business? And she's like, as a kid,
Yeah.
I loved makeup. I loved dressing up. I would do these ramp walks and everything, and I really loved it. I was like, great, what else comes there? So you said makeup, you said jewelry, you said dresses. Now, how about you start showing people how to dress themselves better with your dresses? How can they pair it up? What are the kind of combinations of jewelry they can pair it up? And that way you can have collaborations with other business owners of who have jewelry, and then you combine together. And that way you get more content and you become from some ordinary dress seller to this person who teaches people
Mm.
how to elevate their fashion. So that is the elevation that happens, and it also increases your confidence because you're now
That's
not
right.
just
You've
like a
got, as
random
you
business
said,
owner selling some dresses. You are someone who's elevating.
yeah, you've got that unique selling point. You've got something, it's about you.
Yes.
It's about how your loves and your passions and how you put things together and how you combine things. And I think that's something that gets lost. Like people think they, as you say, they're just another fashion brand or just another candle brand, but it's about how do you get more of you in there, because that's how you're going to stand out from the bigger companies or the mass produced stuff or the next person who's got the same product. Like, how are you doing it differently? I love that, how you've connected their who they are into their content. So tapping into that, like one thing I guess coming from that I know about, and I think that is something that I think people could help to understand themselves more, is that human design factor. So we're not obviously going to go into the whole, every area of human design, but I'd love it if people went away, and I'll put some links in as well for people to go and check what their human design is. And I talked to someone about it in a consult that I had last week, and they were blown away that they'd never heard of it, essentially. And I was surprised, but I guess that's the thing. Like, I've been diving
Mhm.
into this world more and I know more about it now. And as you mentioned at the start, you're a manifesting generator, which I am as well. And it's one of those things that but as say in my family, there's two of us who are, but two who aren't. And I know that my husband sometimes like, wow, you just go all the time and always on and always. And that's just my personality and that's just my energy, of course, as well. So, as you said, you shouldn't try and be like someone else because you are uniquely you. Can you just briefly, if you can, Ashu, talk about human design and what people should know about it to help them with their business?
Absolutely. So human design, I guess I heard it somewhere, but I like to call it as astrology on steroids
Mm.
because it just tells you right now. It's gonna empower you in the moment. It's not about prediction, it's not about future, it's about who you are, what you're good at, and what you're not, like what you can explore. And in human design, when you open up your chart, you will see some white spaces. I like to give the example of a crayon. So you have a unique color, and everyone else has their unique color. And when you interact with other people, they take their crayon and they color in your white spaces. And that is why at times you work really well with some people, but some people just suck the life out of you. And that is because they're coloring in your spaces. Now, when you do want to take energy from someone, you can go to someone else and complete your charts together. But when you come back home, you have to erase that color. Otherwise, you will forget who you are and your own unique color. You will forget that. So it's fun to take energy from other people and utilize it to the best of the benefit, but then come back to what your unique color is.
And so
So that's there.
if people understand their energy, so there's a number of them, and people can go and explore them because we don't need to go into all of them. But I think if they understand who they are in their human design energy and their chakras, then it helps to clarify. When I've spoken to people about it in my family or in my consults and stuff, most people just say, like that almost sense of relief that they understand themselves more, and that's why they are the way that they are, or that is how they can live a more live a life that's more in line with their design, and gives them almost permission. And I guess it just helps you see why you have frustrations in certain areas, or why certain things bother you, or anything like that.
Yes, it absolutely helps with that. That's like a really good point. I am more on that side now that I have explored human design so much and I've done so many readings at this point for my clients, that I have realized there are a lot of disempowering aspects being taught outside on the internet about human design, like projectors. Projectors, manifestors, and reflectors are the people who do not have defined energy centers. That basically means they work in spurts of
Yes.
energy and then they're resting most of the time, like a cat, right? And then they pick up they do resonate with it. The first time they hear it, they're like, oh my God, that is so me. That makes me feel so liberated. But then they start putting themselves in this box of, I cannot do a lot of work because I'm a projector, manifestor, or reflector. But that's not true. That's why human design is designed in a way that you go and connect with other people's energy and not just like be on your own private island. That's not what human design is about. So if generators and manifesting generators are the ones carrying the world work, then you can just go into a cafe, do like just open up your laptop, work there, because there are definitely going to be some generators and manifesting generators there, and you can borrow that energy for the time you need to get the work done, and then you go back home and sleep. As a projector, manifestor, or reflector, then you don't have to take on someone else's energy. When you start doing it intentionally, it doesn't feel draining. I know I'm touching very different aspects because there is like projectors who grow up in households of generators or manifesting generators. They always feel like they are not good enough because the manifesting generators are just popping off all the time. The generators are just working all the time, but the projectors are not. So that puts them in a lot of pressure. But when they realize, oh, wait, I am a projector, now they consciously know it, they can intentionally go into conversations trying to get the energy they need, and then they block it off when they don't need it so that there is no burnout. But human design is a very beautiful tool to get to know yourself, because in business, we
Yes.
are told to niche down, but certain types are not supposed to niche down. Like if I had to niche down, I would probably not be running a business because I have way too many things that I love doing. But there's a way to do those things. That's where business coaching comes in, and we both come into picture for our clients, because yes, you can do a lot of things. They just need to be done strategically so that they actually fit into your brand and it's
Yeah.
not like all over the place. It just has to fit into like a beautiful toolkit.
That's so perfect. And I think as well, you mentioned about trying to be like other people or trying to do things that other people are doing. And I guess that's where the content creation sort of comes into it, and marketing comes into it as well. Like you've got a certain way because of your design that probably feels easier to you, or is more natural way to do things. So by understanding that a little bit more, those sort of things become easier because you're not trying to be like someone else.
That's very true because so am I allowed to curse here? Am I allowed to use explicit language? That's what I just wanted to ask. So I have 1 by 3 as my profile in human design. And 1 is someone who always wants to study more and more before they make a decision. They are the ones creating detailed plans. Whereas 3 is the one who fucks around and finds out. So that's like the proper line to describe a 3. And your chart will always have dualities that cancel each other out. So let's say 1 is someone who's going to plan it out beautifully, say, invest, like,
Yeah.
it's the researcher. But 3 is like, oh, who wants to do research? Let's put our hand in the fire and see what happens. And then we will figure out. And now that 1 in 3 will always be in conflict. So that turns into a content piece for me, where every time I fuck around and find out, I create it into a content piece so that my clients don't have to do it, even though the 3 people will still do it anyway to find it out for themselves. Then the one part of me is the researcher. So I might have researched something, I might have learned something, let's say about marketing or human design for that matter. That also becomes a content piece. So your profile lines can guide you on how to create content in a better way based on who you are and what your clients are actually looking from you.
That's so good. That's going to be so helpful for people just to dive into a bit more. And so, I mean, I could keep talking for a long time, but the other part is, and I guess this is one of those things as well, people hear about it a lot, and it's got, you know, a good and bad names, I guess, in lots of ways, manifestation. So how does this all tie in together, or how does that work as well in your what you do or what your business, how you help other businesses?
All right. So from the manifestation aspect, we think that something exists, some higher power outside of us exists, right? Like it could be universe or whatever you believe in. That's exactly how I coach my clients. I'm like, imagine that there is a higher power that exists out there. Now, when you are doing business, there are so many things that are outside your control. There are things that you can do. You can post the content, you can make an offer, but will people buy? How many people will buy? And will my reel go viral? And all of those things, they are outside your control. So I tell them, this is like, everyone can take it. It's like a very beautiful exercise to do. Delegate those things to the universe. That's a way of manifesting. So you make your own to-do list based on the things you can do and are in your control. And then you make a universe's to-do list. And you tell universe, these are the things that I want you to do for my business. And I do it all the time. I also play around with the idea of working with so I also am from the Indian background, so I also have certain gods that I believe in. So I am like, okay, I really love working with the god sun. So sun is a god in India, and I'm like, okay, sun, energy, fun, beautiful, like bright. You are going to help me make my business more fun and make me shine. So that's like, put me on stages, get me podcast interviews. So I'm going to delegate to the god sun. And that's basically a manifestation way that, you know, you get me this. That's what we do in manifestation. That universe, I want this, I'm putting this desire out there, you get me this, and I'm going to do whatever I can that is in my control to get this desire. Then I like working with goddess Gaia, who's the creator of the earth and everything. So I'm like, you are the creator, create more leads for me, create more clients for me, and I am going to give them the best experience I can that is in my control. So that is where I am putting all the external things, because most of the things we want in business are outside of our control. So delegate it to the universe to manifest it. And then you feel less pressure on your shoulders. Now you can do the things that are truly inside your control, like showing up, like putting content, giving client experience, and making transformations, making free events, making paid events. How many people will come? Delegate it to the universe and let your manifestations come through.
That's a great description in a very short period of time. So thank you for that. And I guess that's one thing as well, like the action side of it. Like you can't, you're not just delegating to the universe and then expecting something for no action, but you have to take action to help with those things and have goals so that the universe knows what you want, or that you know what to aim for and know what sort of things will help, what sort of actions will help get that result as well.
That's exactly it. That you don't, because manifestation has the bad rep because people think I just sit, think, and it happens. Sometimes it does, but most of the time you have to put in the work.
Yeah, you have to take steps towards those goals that you're after. And, I talk about it in terms of, I've had a few clients and they wanted to get into particular stores because they wanted to be stocked in these stores. And, I helped them work on what their catalog looked like, what their marketing, what their approach was, what their email was, making a list of stores that they wanted to get into. I'm like, and then, I'd follow up with them, like, have you actually contacted them? No, they haven't. I'm like, well, it's not going to happen if you actually don't take the action required to get there. Like, they're never going to find out about you, or they might. organically, but you've got to actually take that step to get what you want. Like it can only be given to you if you've actually taken the action towards that as well.
Absolutely. I really like the fact that you check up on them and ask them, have they actually sent it? Because it's a fun story. But when I was a kid, I wanted to be a singer. And I was like, okay, I am going to be singing in Barbie movies. So I find out who is the producer. I stay till the end to figure out the names. I search them on the internet. I send the guy an email. I'm 13 years old. I send him an email saying that, okay, I want to sing in your movies. And then he actually replied back to a 13-year-old. And he said that the production is with Mattel now. I don't do it because I watched old movies. And he was like, but please keep singing. And it's very beautiful that you do that. And now that guy is in my LinkedIn connections. So a 13-year-old made a LinkedIn connection way before. So if you don't pitch it, you will never have it.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, this has been so helpful. And I think it's, if someone wants to start touching on or tapping into their spirituality and understanding more about themselves, I think it's a great chance for people to look at different sides of them or have an open mind to it. As you say, there's always going to be skeptics. There's always going to be people who don't, believe or don't want to have any part of it. And that's okay. There's plenty of room for everyone, and there's plenty of room for different ideas and different, ways of thinking. But if they are interested in it, how do people, find out more about you or look at your 3-day training or anything that you've got available?
I love that. So I mostly am hanging out on Instagram. My brain operates in form of Instagram. So that's at Listening Stories Untold. And then I have a website. I also have a podcast. That's Your Spiritual Business Coach. Your Spiritual Business Coach. Yes, that should be the podcast. And it has every Friday, there is a free Coaching Friday episode. So you can listen to it as if you're getting coached by me. Then I do have some meditations on YouTube. So that is a perfect taster for people to get into spirituality. There's some chakra meditations there. I'm also on TikTok. I'm on way too many platforms that I can remember. I have a newsletter where I share the most vulnerable content, which is really crazy, like what my partner did or what happened with me when I went this. The most, I'm your best friend there. So that's the best way to connect with me. But if you're looking forward to actually putting some skin in the game, then you can work with me one-on-one. I have bookings open for 2024, or you can be a part of the 3-day training. You can get the replays. That was mind-blowing. The first day was very triggering for people. I didn't realize that it's going to trigger so much. And some people told me that they're getting a fever, which is usually a sign of their body purging things. And then by day 3, the fever came down because I closed that portal and I told people, okay, this is how you manage these things that came up. So it was crazy.
I love that. That's so good. Amazing. I'll link everything, of course, in the show notes and, share the information. But yeah, I think it's something that people can start to explore. As I said, I've tapped into human design in the last couple of years and I love finding out more about it. And it does help you make sense of, what's going on in the world and who you are and, what you're here to do as well. And I'm excited for people to, take on some of the information and see what resonates with them. And yeah, thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you so much for having on the podcast. It was so amazing. And I really love that I could talk about so many things in such a short span of time.
All good. Thanks so much, Ashu. Thank you so much for listening to the Lotco Business Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please make sure you subscribe to receive future episodes as they are released. And I'd be so grateful for a review on Apple Podcast. If you would like a copy of the show notes or any of the links mentioned today, please jump onto my website at thelotco.com.au/podcast. Have an amazing week and I look forward to chatting to you again soon.